What's up, everybody? Give people a second to jump on. Um, Hope everybody's doing good, having a great day. It's been a long day for me. We had practice, we're back in full swing. It's pretty cool to have all the girls back, and we've been just kind of getting after it. So, if you are in the Virginia area or ever, are in Hampton, definitely come check us out. I think you guys will enjoy seeing what our team does, how they do things, and I'm really proud of who they are and what they've accomplished thus far. So again, just want to say that I'm trying to get my phone up so that I can potentially um, look at any comments that might be coming in from y'all. So perfect. All right, I got it. We're good to go. So welcome. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's been a great week so far. Worked a camp this weekend. Oh, my bad, y'all. My bad. Worked a camp this weekend and got the chance to just kind of get back out there with the team and an organization and really just kind of teach hitting with other coaches. So it was really cool. But I did get a question today, praise God, and I'm excited to kind of dive into this conversation. Someone had a question about camp etiquette, and I thought it'd be a great time to maybe go a little bit deeper into some background about camps and just kind of give you the real. I want this to be really like real talk, like real talk with a Division I coach, right? What, like, where else can you get the access to ask the questions to a Division I coach to get the real behind the scenes of what we're looking for, how we're looking for them, things like that. So let me start with the question. And the question basically was, let me pull it up real fast. The question was, is it okay to ask coaches during camps and clinics how many players they are looking for in that particular position that you play or your athlete plays? And I think that's a very good question. And I kind of want to just start from one layer and kind of build up to it. But let's start with this. I think depending on if the camp is at the school or if the camp is something that you pay for as a part of a tournament, it doesn't really change my answer, but I think it's important to kind of recognize those two different formats, and why you choose to go to one or the other or both, right? Or what would be the kind of the key focuses of going to one versus the and the other. So I would say at the more larger, bigger camps, the ones that are not necessarily a part of the school, you want to for sure, do whatever you can to ask as many questions as you can to all the coaches. So I think that's a really cool place to be able to do that. I think it's a really cool place to kind of gauge your level of expertise or skill level, based on uh, the athletes that are in that space around you. So I think that's really important as well. I think when it comes to those, I would say there's definitely like the coaches there are getting paid to be there. So when you think about that concept, there are coaches who are there and they really enjoy, training your athletes, but also just be aware that they are getting paid most times to work those camps. And so sometimes, even though they want to recruit there, it also can be just a place where it's like, I need to make an extra income. So again, depending on the level, there's different layers to this. For me, I'm a Division I coach, but that money also helps me survive. So I love to be there and sort of pour into those athletes. But there's some coaches that are not the same. Now, when it comes to the college team, I would say, more times than not, when we get you on our campus, we really want people and families to get an experience around our school. So, getting to see the neighborhood, right? Getting to experience our team and our team dynamic, our coaches and their coach dynamics, right? How we run things as a system within that particular program. And I think all in all, like most of the athletes that come there want to go to that school. So, it kind of gives you a gauge of the type of athletes that we attract, but also the type of athletes that we're looking for. So I would say when you go to those college camps on campus, yes, there are also camps that are money grabs as well within that space. I would say the bigger schools who, are opening their camps to 100 plus people for $200, $300. You can kind of know that that's probably what they're doing, but they can get away with it sometimes. But for our particular camps like us, we are really trying to find athletes within that space that want to go to our school. So we always have a little bit of a higher favor to the families that make the decision to come specifically to our school for our particular camps. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there as well. And I think one of the biggest struggles that I have, and I've received as all the emails that I receive, is athletes who email us and say to us, especially if they're juniors and seniors, and they say to us, hey, we're really interested in going to your school, right? We really want to go to your school. And then, like you're my number one choice. And then they have to decide between coming to our camp and allowing us to see them in person at our school around the athletes that we recruit. And then their decision to say, well, my travel ball team has a tournament that same week. That's a really challenging thing for us to hear as coaches, especially when you say we're your number one school. And you've got me to look at your email and respond and give you information about the camp. I think that's a really, you got to be careful with why, like that decision. And here's why. I know as travel ball teams, sometimes they don't have enough numbers, things like that, but I really want you to remember, what is the purpose of playing travel ball? To be competitive enough to get a college scholarship, right? To get competitive enough to get in front of the coaches for my future. And if you have this opportunity in front of you, right, and it's realistic, right, you have the opportunity in front of you, it only makes sense to me as a coach that you would take that opportunity if it works for your family, affordable, all the things, if you have enough notice. But I think when I hear athletes say that, it kind of gives me a negative taste, if I'm going to be real, in my mouth. So I think that's something to consider. Now, definitely what you should do before a camp is 100% email us. And I'll be honest, sometimes like I can't get through all the emails, but especially during camp week, I try my best to pay attention to the emails that are coming in, because I do like to know the athletes that are coming into the camp, and I like to like have a face to a name. So definitely email us before, I would say at least a week in advance, to let us know you're coming to our camp. I would say once you get to our camp, make sure you introduce yourself to all the coaches, right? And our players are getting better because they're also shy too. We had our first camp in October, and it was just cute to see how like our freshmen and all of our girls were kind of like shy. So I say like keep that in mind, that they're also pretty shy and they're also human beings. But introduce yourself to us as coaches specifically, and allow us to get to know who you are, and say, hey, I emailed you on such and such day. I'm really excited to be at your camp. I'm a 2020 whatever. I play this position, right? So keep that in mind as they show up. I think the question, getting to the answer of the question is, I believe after every camp, take advantage of the opportunity to talk to those coaches at that particular school. So yes, definitely ask the question, hey, what kind of players are you looking, not what kind of players what positions are you looking for this particular year of my graduation? And how many athletes do you usually take in that particular position? And I think with this sort of question, I think it's a great question to ask. But I'm going to take it a little bit further. When I advise my 360 athletes about what questions to ask coaches at camps, I want them to find questions that help them stand out. More so, not that it just seems transactional, not that it, like, that's a fair question. So I'm not saying that. But I think also, what else can I ask that makes me stand out in this scenario? So I would say a question that I've given an athlete is, I noticed that you did this particular drill today. I really liked what that was about. What I got from it was that you're working on this, this, and this. Was that accurate, or did I miss something, right? Give them an opportunity to, have a dialogue with you. I would say another question that I ask girls to have is, I think one of the things that my 360 athletes have is, one of the things that I have them notice is team culture. And so, like, what was really cool about our first camp as coaches at Hampton is that a lot of our parents from those camps said we had a really well-run camp, and the girls were all like, this is one of the best camps they've ever been a part of. What I also got people saying is the atmosphere felt great. The girls looked like they were having a good time. Our team looked like they were having a good time. They were really engaging with the players and things like that. So if your player can ask a question about, I really noticed that your team really enjoyed being out here, or they were really hyped, or they really had good energy. What do you guys do to foster that team culture? Because I'm personally a person that feels like I want to be a part of a team like just like this. So like, what did you guys do to build this up? And that's a question that you don't hear, but it's like, man, okay, like she's paying attention to the things that are also intangible as well as things that are physical to this situation. And to me as a coach, that tells me, all right, like they're also worried about wanting to be a part of something for a longer period of time over time, right? So I think just thinking about other questions that you can have them ask would also be really well. I think also take a picture at the end of the camp. Like I said, email before, take a picture, email us after, say thank you, put the picture in the email so that that way we recognize a name to a face. I know we get a lot of tags on social media as well. That also works. But I'll tell you, when I'm actually recruiting you and I actually like get to the point where I'm like, okay, I really want to look at this athlete, I will, even though I get a ton of emails a day, I will go back to my email and I will search my email for that particular athlete's name. And I think most coaches will do that too. So we'll check there first and then we'll go to Twitter, Instagram, all those places. So even though it might seem like a coach is not responding via email, I still suggest that you send those emails. All right. And I think every time um, that you can, you should. Right. And in my 360 athlete program, we talk to athletes about kind of the cadence of what to send or when to send and how to send and what and at what time. And I think one of the always the struggles is, well, what do I put in my emails? And so in that particular program, we talk more about the different things that we can also say in those emails. So yeah, so I think I got that one question. I was like, let me go on a whole tangent about this sort of process. And I think you should know at tournaments that have camps where coaches are working, be aware that in the camp format, your athlete can communicate with us depending on what level they're in. So Division One, Division Two, within that space, they can definitely talk to us. Outside of that space, when they're just playing tournaments, more times than not, we're actually not allowed to speak to the player or the parent. We can talk to the coach. So what I would say to you with that is, make sure if you're able to get them into the camps, that's just going to be a door that opens for them to be able to communicate with that player. But of course, when they come to our campus, they can talk to us at any point, any time. Um, I think one last thing that I think is a lost art that needs to come back, especially after camps, is I said take a picture, but I also think even though it's a lot, like have some sort of player profile. Or one of the girls gave us a business card. I wish I had it by me. I still have it. I don't have it right here, but I have it somewhere. She gave me a business card. And this business card basically just has a little bit of her information on it, and it has a picture of her. And so now, like when I'm leaving the camp and I have this document of who she is, a little bit about her contact information, it makes me specifically want to be like, okay, like let me, if I'm looking into her, I have her information. So if you can get your athletes to have some sort of player profile or something they can hand to the coach that kind of has a picture of them, what year they graduate, what year, what their contact information is, what position they play, maybe a little bit of accolades about them if possible. But the main four things are the name, grad year, position, contact information, and a picture. So let's make it five. So yeah, that's some of the things that I think I kind of want to get a little bit deeper with that camp question. So thanks for those of y'all who have jumped on and listened. I'm grateful for y'all. Any questions? I can see the chat now as well. Is there any other questions that anyone has that I can answer in the next maybe 5 minutes or so? Otherwise, I will let you guys go until next week, and definitely send me, like I said, direct messages. I'm definitely willing to give you the real behind the scenes of these particular questions. But any questions before we roll out? You can type it in the chat if you have it. I'll give it like 30 more seconds. Awesome. Cool. And I would say, depending on what age your athlete is, I would say definitely expose them to high level camps around seventh and eighth grade. Even though they're not necessarily getting recruited, it's a great space to sort of get a gauge on where their skill level is compared to other people in the area. And then I think if you can get to those particular campuses that are local to you, like D1 schools, NAI schools, Division three schools, Division two schools, that are at least within, a couple hour radius of you, take them to those camps at least once, so you can again gauge the competition level, especially when they're seventh and eighth grade. And I think as they get older, we're definitely want to go to those places more so for the aspects of getting recruited, and to be on that campus and feel the atmosphere of that school and that team and things like that. So, yeah, that's all I have for y'all. If there's no other questions, thanks for rocking with me. I saw a couple of you guys join. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. It's cool to see people show up. And I got a question today, so I'm grateful for y'all. Hey Liz, how you doing? Doing good. Thanks for jumping on. I'm happy to hopefully I see you guys soon. So we'll see what happens with that. But missing a little Izzy. But yeah, awesome, y'all. Well, have a great evening, and we'll see y'all soon. All right, peace.